Today, we are going to check out the Modern Beauty. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. The Modern Beauty is a really interesting series of guitars that was done up by Sweetwater starting around 2015, and they lasted until about 2019. But these have really interesting specs. We've got a two-piece flame maple top, custom bucker pickups that have fancy coil split electronics as well as in and out of phase for your middle position, you know, kind of like what we have on the Les Paul Modern. We're just missing that whole direct bridge thing. But we've got an ABR1 bridge on these, so they're kind of like reissue Les Paul customs in that aspect, that they have this premium feature. And then if all that wasn't enough for you, you have a 5-piece maple neck, 3 pieces of maple with 2 pieces of walnut, and it's just heavily figured. This is why they're called a Modern Beauty. It's beautiful on the back, very 70s inspired, this particular color. And then it's modern because of all the electronics. But the other reason why they're modern is the fact that the fretboards are actually made out of rosewood on this run. From late 2011 till early 2019, Gibson used Richlite almost exclusively for Les Paul custom fretboards due to the fact that they were having a real hard time getting ebony because of the whole government raid. Just know that is what is known as the Richlite era. Some people look down on them, and some dealers were having a hard time convincing people to buy customs with that. So Gibson and some dealers would opt to use real wood that you wouldn't normally find on a custom. That's when you see the rebirth of the maple fretboard, just like Gibson did in the 70s. I've documented a couple of them. I mean, this red flame top one was an absolute beast. I remember loving that piece. But the other option was to put rosewood on it. Now, you normally associate a rosewood fretboard with a Les Paul standard, so putting a rosewood board on a custom is a little bit crazy, but you know, it's what you had to do at that point in time to get a real wood fretboard. A famous run of customs that had to utilize a rosewood board is the original Widow run that Gibson did themselves. We had the initial Black Widow that had the ebony board, but that was a Sam Ash exclusive in 2009. That later birthed the second generation of Widows that we're talking about. But you've got them in the green, the red, the orange, the purple, and some colors look better than others with a rosewood board. And so for Sweetwater's exclusive Modern Beauty series, they offered these in 3 different finishes. You have this one, which is the 70s tobacco burst. It's exactly what the name implies, a nice little tobacco burst. You've got the back that's just a natural brown color. And then in the 70s, Gibson was using a lot of these maple necks, so it makes complete sense for this one. But there's also a more reddish looking bangle burst, which has a really cool side profile shot. And then they also offered a natural flame finish. However, prior to the official Modern Beauty name being given to these custom orders, there was also at least a handful of silver sparkle top, back, and sides, but still natural back of the neck, and at least one satin black one that we can see in an old Sweetwater video here with Mitch Gallagher. The other cool spec about these guys that makes them modern is the fact that they have locking Grover tuners. We don't really know how many of each color exists, however, it's just very small numbers, and like maybe 10 of each would be my best guess, and even that guess I think is a little bit high. These were just very small custom batch orders of guitars, but dealer exclusive guitars have always been kind of cool to me. Sometimes dealer exclusive models become highly collectible. Other times they might have a cult following, but they never like go crazy in value or anything. One of the cooler ones that I do want to add to my collection if anybody's selling is the Batson Flight model Les Paul custom. But dealers have been having exclusive runs at least since the early 70s. Like one of the earliest ones that I know about is from 1972. It was a Sam Ash SG200 model that actually had their name on the truss rod cover. But what makes this run a little bit more special in my eyes is the fact that people are realizing that, hey, these Modern Beauties are pretty cool now that they've kind of stopped making them since 2019. And I think a lot of that comes down to, you know, ebony returns, so it would change up the dynamics of everything, but the COAs actually have Sweetwater's name on it. And rather than just a regular Les Paul custom, it says limited run, so it makes it a little bit more special as compared to a regular made to measure. But as far as what Gibson called these internally, apparently it was just Les Paul Custom F. They're pretty expensive brand new, around $7,500. I will say most people that have purchased these have not resold them because you do not find these on the market too often. So needless to say, people who have these are pretty happy with them. Now, am I telling you this is the most collectible guitar in the world? No. But Sweetwater's such a great dealer, I could see people appreciating these over time. And it wouldn't surprise me if they do bring these back one day because they're just very interesting. But if you've ever wondered what this guitar was right here in the Sweetwater banner ads as you're searching their website, it's one of these guys. So to learn a little bit more about this 70s tobacco Modern Beauty, let's go ahead and throw it on the workbench to take a look at its parts and specs. But before we do that, we need to hear a word from our sponsor today. It's Sweetwater. So Sweetwater, if you don't know, in my opinion, they really are the best online dealer to purchase from. If you need a big box store that sells literally everything from band orchestra instruments to guitars to synths to keyboards, you can even visit them at their Fort Wayne, Indiana location. They have a huge campus. There's a whole bunch of events there. They also do music lessons if you're local. But my absolute favorite thing when shopping for guitars is you can see every single one. So you can pick out what top you like, you can pick out what serial number you like, or if you want a heavier one or a lighter one. It's very labor intensive for them to do that whole process. And others might have copied them since then, but they were the first big guys doing all that. And hey, they also do monthly giveaways, which you can click that link down in the description to enter if you're interested. Thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring tonight's episode. That just happened to be an old Sweetwater exclusive. They might be able to custom word you one if you really want a new one, but let's go ahead and take a look at this. Well, I'm really glad I bought this to check it out because I was surprised what I saw in this neck pickup cavity. The pickups are exactly as advertised, custom buckers. Not that they have the sticker to identify them besides the patent applied for decal, but the bridge looks the same here. But what really surprised me here is the fact that we have a short neck tenon. Normally when you get the ABR1 bridge, you also pair it with a long neck tenon, but that's what's interesting about the late Henry J era is the fact that custom shop customs at that time did not get the long neck tenons. I think it's somewhere around 2018, all custom shop customs start to get the long neck, but I'm not 100% sure exactly when that switch happened, but it's probably right around the time Gibson changed ownership would be my best guess. So this is definitely not like a souped up, changed up spec 68 reissue custom. It's more so like a regular custom that has the ABR1 upgrade. So it just fits somewhere between regular and reissue. You can see the beautiful maple top that's 2 pieces, as well as the solid mahogany body, and the pickups have the 4 conductor wiring coming out of them, because you need it to with the fancy electronics. And within the circuit, I am getting no usable readings, so I think I know what's hiding in here, but we'll have to see if it's right. But here we can see the ABR1 bridge, just reads that on the back, and it is mounted traditionally. And it does feature a lightweight aluminum tailpiece. It's still gold plated though. Good old eBay sellers. They tell you near mint, almost perfect, and they don't describe any further. And then when you get it, you find dings in your top. I mean, I can understand, a small one, but at least point it out to the buyer, because there's another deeper one that's like right there. But other than that, it was very well taken care of. This was definitely one of those guitars that was left on a stand, and as they moved guitars around, one of them accidentally went dink against the top in a couple of areas. So probably not played too much, but definitely on display. But as normal, we have our multiply binding on the top. And we've got a pretty nice flame maple top on this one. Nice and wide like I like. And notice, no pick guard stock from the factory. There is one in the case though, so you might find one with one if somebody decided to install it or ask Sweetwater to install it. Moving on from the body, onto our neck. The rosewood fretboard's just kind of interesting on this one. It's nice and dark, so it's not as jarring as like on some models. However, this is the one finish that can actually pull off a really rosy fretboard from their series. I feel like the Bangle Burst can also pull it off. You've got 22 medium jumbo style frets with your mother of pearl inlays. Got a nut width of 1.72, that increases to 2.06 by the 12th. And the neck is actually pretty chunky on this guy. First fret neck depth of 0.86 and 1.01 by the 12th. Which might not sound that big, but it's really rounded. This feels just a little bit thicker than most Les Paul customs. Here's that neck at the 1st fret and the 12th fret. Just a nice rounded C shape. And as far as our headstock, it's pretty much just all your regular stuff up here. Beautiful Gibson logos, all done up in mother of pearl, with a truss rod cover that reads custom. Onto the backside, it's a really dark walnut color back here. I mean, sometimes it just looks black, but when you get it in the light just right, it's a beautiful color. But let's find out together. I didn't peek, I just opened the cover up enough to get it off. I don't know why I wasn't getting readings now. But interestingly enough, this is the same style of push-pull pot that they used on the Buckethead style Les Pauls, and they discontinued those very shortly after. So there we go, it is hand-wired, and we've got these ceramic disc capacitors. But since you have 3 push-pulls and 1 that's not, it gives you a very significantly different feel. These move so quickly, and then you go to your tone over here, and it's so slow. It's almost hard to move in comparison to these quickies. So I think that's why the current modern series utilizes this one as a direct to bridge push-pull. So it cuts everything else out of the circuit. These did not get that. And as far as the condition back here, we've got some more impressions in this area. And a little bit of a scratch here, as well as up here. So maybe he did play it a little bit. You might think I'm being nitpicky, but I just like to document what some people consider mint versus what I consider mint or near mint. My definition is near mint has no impressions at all. It might have some surface level scratches because of polishing swirls and whatnot, but you shouldn't find any impressions. I would personally categorize this one as very good. But this one does have the thin binding in the cutaway. You can see the maple cap exposed. Now this is just a fantastic neck. Very beautifully and evenly flamed all up and down, and it's got good movement to it. I think that's the real reason you buy one of these, because they're just so beautiful. And seeing the natural with the dark mahogany color, it works. And okay, looking at it in this direct lighting, we can actually see there's some significant finish checking here on the headstock and like right where the join is. Now nothing's coming apart. Honestly, a lot of this actually follows the squiggly wood grain. Like I know some people might go, oh, is that a crack? No, that's just wood grain line. Now if it stemmed directly from there, I'd be a little bit more worried, but I'm not concerned about that. But we do have some finish checking here. But there you can see our Gibson custom decal and our serial number. All said and done, this one weighs 9 pounds, 1.7 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how this one sounds. I would say the tones out of this so far is really nice. You don't find many custom bucker equipped guitars that have the whole coil splitting options. The neck has a lot of attack to it. Very full and round, but then when you split that, up, but it still has that roundedness to it, so that's nice. Bridge pickup, it's got that same roundedness to it. I would almost say it's got less bite than most bridge pickup. But then again, I've been demoing 498Ts a lot lately, and those are twice as hot as this, so it's just nice to have more of a PAF-styled humbucker today. But we split that in half. Kinda telly-like. That might sound better with some distortion. So far, it's not quite my favorite. Now we'll try our middle position. Both of them split. the middle position gets kind of weird when you can split just the neck or just the bridge while you're having them both together. Yeah, I'd say that's the one I like the best. It's the bridge pickup split with the neck in full position. Oh, and then you can also do the out of phase in the middle position. That's a real honky-tonky out of phase sound. That's like really in your face as compared to what I've demoed before. For me, I'm really digging the full-on humbucker tones on the distorted channel. Now that we know all about the Modern Beauty Les Paul Custom, what are my final thoughts on this thing? You know, it's strange how your thoughts and opinions on things can change in such a short amount of time, because I remember seeing these things brand new in 2019 sitting actually at Sweetwater when I visited them. It was all locked up in a display case, and I just thought, who's gonna pay $7,500 plus for one of those? I can go buy myself a 25 50th anniversary Les Paul for $4,500. Yeah, now the market's kind of caught up for those Norland era oddities. So your options to get a 5-piece maple neck that's all beautiful for cheap have kind of diminished. So I think maybe that's kind of what's making me go, huh, you know, these are actually really cool when you can find them yet today. So I think maybe these were just a little bit ahead of their time, even though they were perfectly right at their time with their whole rosewood fretboard and everything. But I really adored the clean tones out of this. Coil split, in and out of phase, all that. This one just really came to life in the clean tones. These custom buckers are quite fantastic on the clean channel. That's my main takeaway from this. But for me personally, it's really all about the neck profile on this one. It's so nice and chunky. A lot of times these 3-piece necks will get shaved down to be pretty thin because that's how they were in the 70s. So, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed watching today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you like multi-piece necks, you might enjoy this Custom Shop Ibanez guitar we documented a few months back. I had to win the lottery to get that one.